Good morning, Jami. It is good to see you this morning on our podcast.
Good morning, Jeffrey. It's good to see you on our podcast today, too.
I always make you laugh or smile on some type of introduction because you never know how I'm going to introduce us.
Never. You guys, this is us this morning. I'm saying, okay, so we're going to talk about this. What do you think?
Well, this being, what were we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about writing your own B statement. I said,
your professional B statement.
Professional B statement. I said, Jeff, okay, what do you want to talk about? He's like, well, writing a B statement. I'm like, okay, what do you mean when you say how to write a B statement? What's the how? He's like, I'll let you know when we get on air.
It'll come to me.
It'll come to me.
It'll just be right there at the tip of my tongue. I think better when I'm actually talking with you and talking with all the streakers out there. Fellow streakers, I enjoy talking with you, and that's when everything starts to come. That's why when we go on our walk run, I start talking. We talk all the time. I mean, what is the thing that you don't like at all? You don't like it when we're running so fast that you can't talk.
That is true. Or breathe.
Well, breathing is one thing, but talking, that's
talking
a whole nother level.
I wonder how many, I would love to meet another person who has that experience, that they get more clarity of thought when they get in front of people.
Yeah, when you're in front of a person. I think
you say it like, yeah. Totally, that makes sense.
Well, when you can calm yourself to the point where you're not being self-conscious, but you're looking at it and thinking with the person with whom you're speaking or the people. And it doesn't matter if it's 100,000, 5,000, 20,000.
Okay, I'll just
you
trust
should see
you
her
on that
eyes.
one.
They're like as big as saucers.
Yeah, I'm thinking I can totally visualize myself having clarity of thought and it all coming together right there in front of 20,000 people. That is not my experience.
Why? Why is it not your experience? And this is what I would contend is because most of us, and I do too, I'm not divorcing myself from this particular category. We get self-conscious.
Yeah.
What are people going to be thinking about me? What are they going to be, and if we can get to the place, and if we can get to the place where we really don't care what they're thinking, but I care about the people or I care about you, I'm not, and I don't think I do it as far as getting in front of a crowd or a group. It gives me energy, not because I'm in front of the crowd or the group. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I'm excited about it because we're exchanging ideas and information and growing together.
I agree. You do love that. You love bringing a group together in an idea. Yeah. And traveling that journey together. Mm-hmm. And doing it as a group. That's the part that you love.
I do.
Not
or an individual. I mean, from an individual all the way up to a group, whatever it is. Inspired, deciding to take another little step in the journey of improving who I want to be. All of those things excite me. I also enjoy the entertainment together. That's why one of the reasons I love to DJ is when we get a group of youth together and I'm DJing. It's not that I want to be in front of the crowd. I don't think it's a arrogant, self-serving thing. And self-serving I use hesitantly because I have some self-service from it. However, do you love this introspection that I'm going into right now? I mean, you're just kind of sitting there looking at me like, where in the world is this going to go? Believe me, folks, we will get on to streaking. I promise. Get to the topic at hand, which we will. This introspection just came because when I am thinking out loud, I'm very comfortable with that.
That's good. I'm very comfortable with going along with you thinking out loud. Just going along for the ride.
There is a point, though, where you get to a point where something clicks inside of you and you start to enjoy it as well. And then all of a sudden your thoughts start to flow. I'm not sure when that is, but there is something. I see it in your eyes when we're talking. It's this little click that happens. And I think it's you get excited about a principle or a particular topic that we're on, and you start really going after that and thinking it through.
I do enjoy the thinking and the talking about the topic and really kind of getting the opportunity to dive into it and look at it from different angles. I find that enjoyable.
I believe that there are some streakers who we start talking with that wonder whether or not we want to talk about streaking. It's like, oh, it's all they ever talk about. Do they really want to talk about it with me? The answer is
yes.
Absolutely. We can sit around a dinner table, and talk about streaking and what it's done for us and why it's significant, and get into the depths and details and the granular little, looking at the tiny little specks of streaking, and I enjoy every moment
enjoyable.
of it.
I
So
agree.
if we're meeting with you and we're talking together, don't hesitate. We'd love to talk with you about it. Any part of it we enjoy, which I think brings us to the topic at hand.
Which is
professional streaking.
And how to write your B statement.
How to write your professional B statement. Jami this morning informed me that she started a new streak.
I know, I did. But I informed you because I was surprised.
And this relates to writing a professional B statement. That's where we're starting.
That's where we're starting. I was surprised at the little bit of the process that I had to go through. Not surprised. I guess it's just, it happens. It's a continuation of what really happens.
Right. So I'm looking at it right now as far as how many months ago did we interview Craig Christensen?
It was a little while ago. So so when we did that, we had that interview with Craig Christensen, and he as we were talking to him, I was writing down. You couldn't see because this is a podcast and not a YouTube video, but I was taking notes on all of the books that he would offhandedly mention. And one of the books, I think at the end of the podcast.
There it is. Goals Are for Losers with Streaking with Craig Christensen, 12/23.
Right. So it
was December. Yep.
So one of the things, and I can't remember if it was in the podcast or if it was afterwards when I was talking to him, but I asked, if there was, what book would you recommend? And he recommended this book called Make It Stick. And now I don't know who the authors are. Let me see if I can find it. And I went and immediately downloaded it and wanted to, it's a group of people.
She's feverishly looking for the author. She's going to the title page right now in her Kindle.
Thank you.
She's looking at it about this book. The authors are
Peter C. Brown, Henry Roediger III, and Mark McDaniel. So it's a group of educators. I think this was a huge study that they did, and they actually received a grant to be able to write the book.
Okay.
But the book is all about education, and the science of learning is more what it's about, and how to actually...
What is the subtitle there?
The Science of Successful Learning.
Okay.
So the concept, Make It Stick, is how to actually make the things that you learn stick.
And what was it that interested you in this book in particular? Or what, because when Craig mentioned it, I saw your eyes lit up. And when they lit up, it was something that inside of yourself, that you feel like you either have a deficiency or...
Yeah, I guess that's it. As I look back,
or you have a desire to learn.
I've often looked back at my own educational experience and feel like I really did good at getting good grades. Did I dramatically say that right? I really did well at getting good grades. I did goodly. I got good grades in school.
grades.
I was good at getting good grades. I understood how to study and to do well on a test, and I understood how to listen in a way that I understood what a teacher was looking for.
Right.
But as I look back, I realized how much I didn't apply. I just would study for the test and do well on the test and do well in the class. But I don't feel like I came away having actually learned a lot.
Right.
And so that's something that has kind of bothered me. And so this was a fascinating book. That's a long story to bring me to this place where as soon as we got off that podcast, I went and found this book and I bought it. And it's a little bit more of an expensive book. It wasn't, because it's an educational...
What is expensive in your category of expensive books?
Actually, I don't remember how much it cost.
Anything over $20? Anything over $30?
Probably anything over $20.
Okay.
I remember thinking, oh, this is a little bit more than I
So
expected.
Streaking is an inexpensive book then, in your mind?
It's what I would expect.
It's $19.99 or $19.95 at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or anywhere else. Actually, at Amazon, it's a little bit cheaper right now.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And Audible. So,
oh, that's right. And our Audible sales have gone up significantly. A lot of people listening to it.
It's enjoyable to listen to. So I bought the book and I started reading it, and I've loved the book.
Mm-hmm.
But now, fast forward, we're almost, almost through April.
Right.
And I am on what page am I on? 27? No. I've read 100 pages.
100 pages.
I've read 100 pages. And at the time that I was like about 23% through the book in the last 4 months. And so the other day I was thinking, I really want to be reading more. I need to make time. That's what I remember thinking. I need to make more dedicated time to read this book because I'm enjoying reading this book. And I'm a little bit frustrated that I'm not getting through it.
Uh-huh.
And it was interesting because I thought to myself, I'm like, I guess I need to make a streak. But that was a secondary thought after the thought of I need to carve out time.
Right.
Like dedicated, good, quality time so that I can digest this book because I've been really enjoying it. And it's a little bit more of a it's an educationally based book, and so there's a lot of definitions of terms in the book. It's not something that I read as like, it's a great read.
I like to say it's concentrated because you get a bunch of information that's concentrated within a paragraph.
Right.
And that concentration, you have to add a little bit of water, which water is thinking.
Right.
And you're thinking it through. And so it's not something that you can consume quickly and move on.
Right. And so it was fascinating to me to go through this quick thought process of I need to carve out some time so I can get some quality around this book, but also recognizing that it's been 4 months and I've been feeling that way the whole time. And so it was interesting that I thought I genuinely need to set a streak.
Yeah.
And I read to
After
the boys.
After 6 years, you had to think it through and decide that you were going to set a streak.
And it was an interesting thought process because the thought process was this desire to want to have this quality time, to give this thing that I want dedicated quality time. And that I really did want to be like, I want to just be able to sit down and just read it for hours. But I haven't been able to make that happen. And the thought was, you need to set a streak. And because even as I'm waiting for my quality time, my air quote quality time that I'm hoping I will make for there, time is passing.
Right. Yeah.
Does that make sense? And so
totally.
I thought I'm going to set a streak. So the streak is to read a paragraph out of book of my choosing. That's how I delineated it.
So it doesn't matter if it's fiction, nonfiction, whatever it is.
No,
You've just decided.
You just
said I need to read at least one paragraph of a book you want to read daily.
I'm on day 3.
Day 3.
I'm on day 3.
And it took you a while to set the streak because you knew you were going to keep it.
Yes. But it was
Doesn't that sound weird?
It does. But on the same note, I was excited because I thought and I did think about that because I have quite a few streaks and I was thinking, okay, do I want to add another one? But the thing that was great is that I now know that I will be reading this book. If I set the streak, and I loved when Craig said a streak isn't where you finish, it's where you start. And sometimes what holds us back is we think, well, all I'm ever going to do is the bare minimum. If I have the at least, what if all I ever do is the at least? I'm going to read one paragraph in a book, at least one paragraph in this book every day.
Right.
What if that's all I ever do? This time when I had that thought process, I'm like, even if that's all I ever do, it's more than what I'm doing thinking about it now.
Right.
I'll even if I never get past just starting, I will finish this book by just starting.
So I'm sure that the question right now, since we introduced this podcast with talking about writing a professional B statement, if I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, how does this all relate to writing and choosing a professional B statement?
Right.
And in my mind, as I was listening to you and I was thinking through that question, that's why I started off with and looked at it, said, what was it that was motivating you to do this particular streak? And there was either a deficiency, so in other words, there was some pain or some gain that you wanted to get. And a
little bit of both. I want to be someone who reads more. I want to, and not just because reading is great, but because of the things that you can learn. I guess that's what I love, this opening up of new ideas or seeing something in a different way. And when you read, you get a lot of that. And then you have things to talk about with other people about, and then you get even more. And I love that reading kind of jumpstarts that.
Professionally, as we go about our professional lives, doing the day-to-day operations of whatever we are doing for our career or job, or to make an income, to provide, to be able to live, whatever that is, we can get caught up in all the things that are necessary to keep that alive. And what I would say is, and I remember talking with Danny about this, the tasks that I need to do on a daily basis to continue to be employed are different than who I want to be professionally. And they're different enough. Now, can they coincide? Can they complement one another? Can the tasks that I do complement on the person I want to be? And I believe the answer is yes. And I look at a task as a completed task as a result that I have to get, that I have to show in some way. Whereas when I'm choosing something, for example, to read at least one paragraph in a book of my choosing, like what you have, what I'm doing is choosing an input that's going to be there all the time. It's not related to a certain result that I need to achieve to maintain my job.
Right.
It is actually related to an aspirational statement of who I want to be, which you just stated. If I'm, either fleeing pain or going toward gain, what you're looking at is saying, I want to be a person who is continuously learning, who is applying the principles and practices that are out there in the universe to my life. And to do that, reading is one of the ways that you make that happen. And so in writing a professional B statement and writing that particular part, it really is a deep introspective look at who do I want to be professionally? What's the one or two things that I aspire to be? Because if I want to be a particular profession, a doctor, a lawyer, Chance dressed up today as an astronaut. If I want to be that, all right, then there are things that I'm going to do repetitively in order to be that person. I can't imagine an astronaut being someone who doesn't know math.
Right.
And so studying at least one math fact daily is something that I'm going to do to become that particular person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, you had a couple of different thoughts while I was going on my little diatribe there.
No, that was great, because as you were talking, I'm thinking most of my professional life has been to be a professional mom. That's a stay-at-home mom. And as you were talking about the tasks versus who do I want to be in my profession, and I wanted to ask you this, that is a thing that I have encountered a lot, because as a mom, there's a lot of tasks that we have to do. And maybe as parents, and as there's laundry, there's making dinner, there's getting the house cleaned up, there's, taking care of the finances, these tasks that have to be done so that our home functions smoothly. However, though those are important, if that's all I ever did, it would be a very unrewarding aspect of my job. It's not who I want to be. I don't want to be necessarily great at laundry or be great at keeping a house clean.
Right.
What I want to be is have a relationship with my children and with my spouse and with the people in my lives. And so when you look at your profession, how do you delineate the tasks that you have to do versus the person that you want to be in those tasks? Because if you allow yourself to only do the tasks, I look at myself as a professional mother, if all I ever did was the tasks, I would miss the whole point of being a mom.
Yeah. And so in that question, the profession that you choose, mother, professional, sales, that's what I've been a lot of the time, sales. Professional consultant. There's not a lot of difference there. And what I mean by that is there's tasks that need to be done in order to make that happen. I need to answer emails. I need to answer client questions. I need to send information out. I need to ensure that, the client partners, the other sales professionals that I'm working with have the information that they need. I need to schedule things. I need to ensure that I meet that schedule. I need to deliver. All of those I see as results that need to be had. And that's, no matter what, we have to have the results. We have to have those tasks of some sort or another. However, differently, I look at who I want to be. And who I want to be is, my professional B statement is, I want to be of service to others through engaging, enthusiastic, entertaining, energizing, thought-provoking, persuasive, leading, speaking, teaching, and writing. So that's my professional B statement. And as I look at that professional B statement, so the question is, what am I going to do to become that person of who I want to be? What that propels is me to get even better. It focuses me on the right things. Mm-hmm. So every single day, I'm doing 6 or 7 streaks to become that particular person. I'm reading a paragraph in a nonfiction book. I'm writing at least one sentence. I am studying at least one development card that relates to communication skills. I'm reading at least or reviewing at least one vocabulary word daily. all of those things stack up. And what's interesting, and this is what I believe in the last year and a half, 2 years that I've really started to discover, is that as I put more intense focus on the things I'm doing to become the person I want to be, and related to my B statement, all the tasks and results and everything else come along. It's like they get carried along for the ride. Whereas when I switch that, it gets very frustrating and dull and boring and mundane and everything that you can describe about a job. But when I have it appropriately defined as who do I want to be and what am I doing every day? I know that every day, amidst some of the tasks that are mundane and difficult and trying, every single day, I'm doing something to make it just a little bit better toward who I really want to be.
I was also going to ask, I liked that. Because you do have one streak that is, I would say, task-oriented, which is the less than 10 emails in your inbox at the end of the day.
True. Do you know what that relates to, though? Just quickly, I know we're running on time, is my B statement of I want to be responsive.
That's what I was going to say, is that it gives you the definition of why that task is important and what part it plays in who you want to become, which in my mind would change the way that we operate in our tasks. Because sometimes I think we demonize these tasks, but let's be honest, they're what make things run smoothly.
Yeah, we've got to do them.
We've got to do them. They've got to be a part of it. But in getting overwhelmed by the volume of tasks that often are associated with being good at your profession, you can forget why you're doing what you're doing and who you want to be in that profession.
Very well articulated.
And so the streak helps to remind you, I don't want to be great. And I don't want to be a great emailer person. I want to be. Email is not the priority. It's the person on the other end. It's responding. It's being aware of the things that are happening in my profession. It's all the benefits that email provides. It's a reminder that.
And it's something that you and I talked about, and I want to start our next podcast with this, is talking about engagement. And how, when you have a good professional B statement, how you can get engaged. And that if you're just trying to be engaged, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work that way.
You know, I always try to describe it as this toy there's a toy that you can try to grab, and if the harder you grab it, the more it slips out of your hands.
I remember that toy.
What that toy is?
Yeah.
And that's what I think about as far as if I try to specifically go after, you just need to be more engaged. If there's not a why behind the what I'm doing, why are you doing the streak of 10 emails or less? Then it just becomes something that's really mundane, and I don't really know why.
This has been good. It's a great opportunity to look at who you want to be in your profession in relation to the things that you do.
Absolutely. Well, we will continue this conversation on our next podcast. Thanks so much for listening today. We look forward to talking with you again. Please reach out to us. Let us know what your streaks are, what your professional B statement is. Jeffrey, Jefffery, at streakingmastery.com, or
Jami, Jami, at streakingmastery.com.
Until we talk next time.
Keep streaking.
That make you grow into what you're hoping. You're in a hurry, don't even worry. It's too simple.